All right, what's up, y'all? This video's height is a little bit strange. I don't really know how I'm gonna do this intro as far as where I'm going to be position-wise, but I'll get into it. It'll be different than this as the video goes on. Today's the 15th of May, 2025. My name is Evan Strong. Just like trying to see up to the camera. I'm the founder of In the Image Clothing Company. This is one of our fourths. There's four sides to us. That's how that would make sense. I'll talk about each of the four sides and then we'll get into the discussion. But what this video is about is standing takes less energy than sitting. That's the title, and it's the truth, and I'll go into it because it's a thing that a lot of people don't see, myself included, until around the time of founding In the Image Clothing Company, okay? About a year ago, give or take. Give or take. But what we do for the body is allow, keyword, the human body to work. There's a center line to the human being, and there just has to be. On Earth's gravity, there's a sternum, a spine, the trachea, the nose, and our jaw, naturally stabilizing our entire body, okay? Feet arches, oppose the center, gripping inward, keeping us vertical, and we place clothing onto our bodies. That's where our company name, as far as the clothing part of it, comes from. Clothing has to stay centered, otherwise the body isn't, because we're just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space. That's how I discuss the human body, because we discuss things as they are under In the Image Clothing Company. My nose is dripping. But yes, raw, real, authentic, blunt, bold, right, as we are. So that's what we do. We will have In the Image Clothing Company clothing always staying centered, fitting correct, where I will discuss in a minute, and made from 100% natural materials, because the human body is, and that's how we do our phrase, right? Our key phrase, allow the human body to work. You can never train a body. There's just neutrals in every joint, and it just does what it does. It could never do anything else because we didn't design it. We can't decide it. It's God's design, and here it is. It's just going to do what it will do, okay? In the Image Clothing Company podcast is another fourth of us, and we're on episode 119 as of today's date. Yeah, we get into blunt, bold, real, raw, deep discussions on the gospel of Jesus Christ, okay? AKA the truth of all things. We're all the same thing, a human being placed on this earth. We just discuss it as it is. Now, another fourth is In the Image Clothing Company music. I'm a musician. I play fingerstyle guitar, so I show how to really what we do is keep the body in its only working position while we play music, okay, or make music, singing or anything. So there's also music that I've placed there made by me, okay? Now, In the Image Clothing Company Poodles is another fourth of us, okay? We specialize in purebred standard poodles. To come, as of today's date, we have our In the Image Clothing Company Poodles purebred standard poodle puppy, registered through AKC breeding program, proper dogs, okay? But we do all things to let dogs stay natural. Dog toys and accessories made from unnatural materials. Yeah. Collars, leashes, and harnesses, imbalanced weight-wise, size-wise. Dehydrated kibble. The water's been taken out from it. Flooring, slippery and unnaturally flat for dogs when it's on the inside of our homes, right? When the dogs come inside, and they're just natural animals otherwise. So, yeah, In the Image Clothing Company dog products as well. Same intent as human being clothing. Minimal, light, staying centered around the dog in whatever way that means, and made from natural materials, okay? 100% natural materials in the ways that we can. So, yeah, clothing for everybody has to sit in the same location, because the human body is just an operable thing. I don't want to wear out the phrase, but that's why I say it's just a mechanical machine placed onto a rock in space that has wind noise where it does. But the body could only ever just have its normal positions. There's a neutral in every joint in the entire body, and it just needs to reside in that. So our pants need to be, for everybody, entirely above our hips. So there's no restriction to the functionality of the pelvis, and then slightly higher in the front than the rear for the angle of the waistband to keep our core muscles activated. That's the only reason muscles are there. Like when I talk about sizings and setups of guitar, the hands are essentially the shoulders, as the feet are essentially the hips. The body's all one, so it has to work as one, always. And it just would if it wasn't otherwise restricted by clothing. So we went over pants. Tops that we wear have seams on top of our shoulders that need to sit evenly behind the peak of our shoulders, because our shoulders can only ever work behind our head. And then the edge seams of our shoulders just right at the edges of the joint, okay, where the functionality is. So 2 things we have as prerequisites under In The Image Clothing Company is our shoelacing technique. Found wherever you find our 5-word name as a whole, In The Image Clothing Company's official shoelace technique. It's the only way you can weave a rope across the top of the human foot and not alter its functionality. We don't own the technique, but yeah, there's a lot going on in the feet, and they only could ever do the function that God gave them, and ropes are man-made, okay? We have to tie our shoes evenly over toward the center line of the human being on both feet, because there is one, and there you go, okay? Now you have a good foundation to be able to stand, because it's easier on the body than sitting. Seriously. Now, removing all tags is our second prerequisite. Anywhere a tag is in clothing, it's just causing a gap, changing the body's only workings, or just not allowing musculature to activate. Like the ones in the shoes, often they don't stick out, but the body's trying to compensate. And something that's just all connected can't do compensation, okay? So, yeah, standing takes less energy than sitting, okay? This video's title. I talk about how posture's a joke. There's just no such thing as posture. We live on Earth's gravity, and everything that gets affected by Earth's gravity just has a center of gravity, okay? Where gravity is just going to be pulling down on it. If my arm is straight here, the center of my arm is right in the center because my arm is vertical. If my arm were like this, now gravity is pulling on it at its center here, okay? There's just a center of gravity to things. And the body just is designed to work and is placed on Earth, so it knows how to do things, and there's only one way it ever could, because every joint has a neutral. Muscles only contract, which is the video's title under In The Image Clothing Company's main site here. And there you go, okay? Stretch within clothing goes the opposite direction of the only way muscles could ever work, and stretching your body is the opposite direction of the only way it could ever work. So we can never stretch the human being. It just seems like something that might help when your body hurts, but if your body's just not residing in its only neutrals, then it's just going to not work well, and then pain is the result, okay? Your body's just telling you something's wrong if you're experiencing physical pain. So yeah, sitting and standing, when we think about just that center of gravity, when you stand, your body's just going to be very vertical, but there's going to be just a slight bend in everything, joint-wise, right? The ankles, the knees, the hips, the spine will have a very slight curvature, the arms will just be slightly bent, and all things in the body will just be very slightly into their range of motion, right? Full contraction and full extension. That's full range of motion, and everything will just be activated, so the body's just working as a whole, and it's holding itself up the only way it could ever stand if there's nothing restricting it, okay? And now when you are standing, gravity just pulls you straight down. Your center of gravity is just this small area from front to back, right? It's about a foot, give or take. From the front of your body to the back of your body, front of your toes to the back of your heels, okay? The center of gravity is very small, like the area of your body that's taking up forward to back. And so this is actually a restful state. The human body standing, just the only way it could ever work. okay? And then you sit down and watch what happens. Now my center of gravity is somewhere here, but then I've got like 2 feet in front of it and about 2 feet behind it. So now I've got this big spread out area that gravity's pulling on, rather than just a nice vertical little spot when I'm standing. Now there's another thing on Earth that affects our bodies, and it's air pressure. We don't really think about it, but there's air, right? We think about that sometimes. But every circle inch or square inch, right? If we just take a surface like this of air and we cut it into small little areas, each one of those little areas, if you were to measure that from the ground straight up all the way to the top of our atmosphere, that weighs a certain amount. The air is stacked, because air, even though it's really pretty thin, it has weight to it. So here, sitting down, right, as I was showing, you've got those little measurements of air pressure that I was showing, right? Here, 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 here. Your whole body's surface area on top of it, air is pressing down on it. And there's a lot more air pressure on this big of a surface area here sitting than here standing, okay? On the tops of my shoulders, the tops of my head, the singular top to my head, it's just this small little area for the air pressure to push down on my body. This is actually a very restful state. This meaning just standing the only way the human body could, if it was just unrestricted. It just works. Because if you think about the muscles as well, they're pretty well straight, and everything skeletal system wise is pretty well stacked. Like my lower leg is stacked on my feet, my upper leg is stacked on my lower leg, my spine is stacked on my hips, and my arms are resting straight down with gravity, okay? My head, if I'm not like kind of bending like this to get to the camera's frame of seeing, okay, then yeah, the neutral spine, the neutral jaw, here you are, very vertical, and everything's actually really relaxed while it's activated as a whole. Just the only way the body would work. The only way it ever could, truly. Okay? So, you take this, you're not having to do effort because you're just letting everything stack. Now if you sit down, things aren't stacked. So I have to hold my body here, and I have to hold my legs here, and I have to hold my arms up because they can't just rest straight down. Otherwise, if they hit the ground, now they deactivate in parts, and my shoulders deactivate, and then my whole body deactivates. Just because there's nowhere for your body to rest without it altering its only neutrals. See that? There's only neutrals in the body. The body really is about the skeletal system, as I say, and that's what we're founded on. The fat content changes and the muscle mass changes. The only thing you ever have to address is the skeletal system and keeping it in its neutrals. If you keep the body in its neutral position, then it has every ability to just work. So, sitting, it takes a lot to keep your body off the ground because it's so spread out. And then you sit in a chair, and we talk about this, but imagine there's a chair here, but there's just not, so you can see how weird it is once I'm showing it. We just don't see it. But as I've talked about since the founding of In The Image Clothing Company, sitting in a chair height is so damaging to the body, and it doesn't actually do it. If I sit in a chair, whoa, right? If there's no chair there, you can't do it. But if there were a chair there, all it's allowing you to do is deactivate your body and drop it onto something. Plus, I understand the wind noise, if and where. Plus, the chair cuts into your hamstring And this activated ankle deactivates because the feet are essentially the hips. The foot has to stem from the hip, and between there is the hamstring. So this nice activation, neutral ankle, okay, just deactivates. And now you can see this visually. There's your external rotation. I talk about internal rotation, and that's what people are lacking. Ooh, the wind noise in modern day. But if you cut off your hamstrings, you've just gone into external rotation because you've just deactivated part of your body. So, standing takes less energy than sitting, okay? There you go. That's what I'll have for this discussion. And there's just only one way the human body could ever work. I don't train, by the way. There's nothing that I train. There's nothing that you could. I say those things not to talk myself up, but to say as the founder, I know what I'm talking about. It's just a machine. And if we're trying to get it to do something that it just doesn't do, well, it just won't do it. So what we do under In The Image Clothing Company is we understand the human body as it is, and we just share the truth about it. So there you go. Okay? There you go. Today's the 15th of May, 2025. My name is Evan Strong, the founder of In The Image Clothing Company. InTheImageClothingCompany.com is where everything's scheduled. Poodle Parade events under In The Image Clothing Company Poodles. Yeah, bring your standard miniature toy, any size of purebred poodle and or poodle mix, and we'll just get together, have a good time, hike, walk, hang out at a park. Events for the main side of In The Image Clothing Company as well, for like the human body's anatomy and clothing, where I'll just get with people and share information, right? Everything will be scheduled on InTheImageClothingCompany.com. That's where the products will be always. So yeah, thank you, okay? But squatting, you notice my body's pretty well stacked over itself still, okay? So gravity is pulling me down where my foundation is. Rather than sitting, your quote-unquote foundation, as in the only one your body really has, being the feet, are clear out in front of it. And they are supposed to be supporting it from the bottom, okay? So, yeah, there you go. Standing takes less energy than sitting. I think it actually says standing uses less energy than sitting, the title. Either way, right? There's only one way the human body could ever work. Doesn't matter if you're tall or short or a woman or a man, skinny or fat. It's just an operable thing. Okay, thank you.